Finally, summer is over. Colors change, we got some more foggy days. All in all, just better conditions for landscape photography. Even if the weather isn't on our side, we can look out for those tiny mushrooms to get some cool macro shots. You might think they are hard to find, but if you're actively looking for them, mushrooms are everywhere. When walking through a coniferous forest, they are especially easy to spot as they love the conditions under those trees. I tend to look for them on dead wood, slightly above the ground level. This way I can frame the mushroom nicely without too much stuff close to it in the background and thus get a buttery smooth bouquet. Depending on the position, you will struggle to use a tripod. For those cases, I got myself a small beanbag. This ensures to get sharp photos even without a tripod. A stable camera position is vital for two reasons. It gets dark in the forest. To counter that, you can increase the exposure time instead of ISO. Also, you can focus stack to get professional looking macro photos. For the lenses, I usually go with something between 50 to 200mm, using either my Canon or Sigma lens, both of which aren't really fast. This time, however, I also want to try out two new lenses which I got over to test. The TT Artisan 50mm and 40mm. The latter one being especially useful for macro. Both are very fast lenses, so they should give me some proper bouquet. While the focus stacking was impossible for me to do with the 40mm macro lens, it was no problem using the 50mm one. However, I was able to get much closer to the subject using the former one, and thus it can be used to get some unique shots. In the end, I got the best mushroom shots using my Sigma lens. However, I didn't have much practice with the 40mm lens and was able to get awesome pictures on different subjects. Alright, back home it's time to edit those mushroom images. I went through a few of them and decided to show you the editing for this particular image. Down here you can see a series of focus stacked images. That means with the first image, the focus point is way in the foreground, while it slightly shifts more to the back with each image. And in the end, I will get a super sharp subject with a very smooth background, which is exactly what I'm aiming for. To start the editing, I'm looking for a shot like this, where both of the mushrooms are at least a bit in focus, so that just helps me with the tones and the colors and everything. First off, I'm going to change the profile to Adobe Landscape. This helps with the darkest parts of the image and also adds a little bit more base saturation. Now let's head through the basic tab. And first off, I'm adjusting the white balance. It's a little too warm, you can see it in those mushrooms. They are not supposed to be that yellow, so I'm going to drop the temperature until it looks a little more natural. So maybe something like that. This image needs some more brightness, but before I can work on that, I'm going to drop the highlights. And with this done, I can now safely push the whites without risking overexposure. Let's see, I do want to brighten up it quite a bit. That looks like a good spot. This part might look overexposed, but checking the histogram we can see there is no overexposure, so let's leave it at that point for now. However, we do have a little bit of underexposure. When we are holding down the Alt key and play around with the black slider, we can actually see where it's happening, and it's in the bottom right corner. So right here, I don't think that's a big deal, but still, let's just push the blacks a little bit. And thus we fixed the underexposure as well. Now I do think this image could use some more contrast. So I'm slightly boosting it. But I'm keeping it rather low, just like that. And then I do want the subject to be very sharp. So here it helps to push the texture a little bit. At the same time I'm dropping the clarity slightly. So it just gives the image a very cool soft look in my opinion. Alright, and finally, of course, right now the image is super saturated. I don't think that looks good, so let's drop the vibrance a bit. And thus it looks much better. Alright, that's it for the basic stuff. I actually don't think I want to apply any local adjustments. So let's skip them for now and go straight to the color grading. Here I want to start in the color mixer with the saturation. And for this shot I do want to have some kind of a moody brown look. For this reason I am going to drop most of those colors all the way down. Let's also bring down the yellow tones. Now that looks much cooler. I do think I also want to drop the orange tones just a bit. Alright, let's check the before and after. And you can see that's much better. Now I'm not going through the color grading panel because I think the colors like this look pretty good. However, I do want to apply a little bit of vignetting, just like that. And also I want to head into the calibration tab and just drag the blue primary hue down a little bit. So those red tones are a little more intense. Actually, let's go even further here. And let's also boost the saturation. Perfect. Now, of course, I also want to sharpen this image. So let's head into the details tab. And by using the masking, I'm making sure only the main subject is affected by the sharpening. Just like that. We could maybe push the sharpening some more. And that starts to look really cool. Now we have edited one of the images from the focus stacking series. Of course, we want to have the same settings on all the images. So I'm going to hit Ctrl A to select them all. Then I'm going to right click on one of the thumbnails, go to synchronize settings, make sure to check all and hit OK. And now we have the same editing on all the images. We want to open all of them in one single Photoshop file. So I'm not going to click this open button, but instead I'm hitting done. And then let's head over to File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack. Here we want to look for our images. So hit the browse button. We are going to pick all the edited images right here. And hit OK. With our images loaded, we are just hitting OK again, and you will see Photoshop will automatically place all the images into one file. So let's do the focus stacking. First, however, you will notice the images aren't perfectly aligned, which is a problem for focus stacking. So let's first align them. Therefore, I'm going to select all the layers right here, go to Edit and select Auto Align Layers. You don't need to set up anything here, just hit OK. Once Photoshop is done with that, we can do the focus stacking, and again we are simply going to Edit, Auto Blend Layer this time, and here we're going to use the stack image setting, and again just hit OK. Depending on your system, this may take a while, but the final image is very well worth it. You can see the mushrooms are perfectly sharp. Here you can see just one mistake I made. I didn't focus all the way back to this log in the foreground, so we have a very unsharp looking part of it right there in the back. This is kind of a very big mistake, and that's totally my fault, but still, let's continue finishing the editing for this shot. To make the editing a little faster, I'm going to erase those layers which we don't need anymore. And then let's see what we can do here to make it better. Actually, I don't think there's much left to do, so I just want to check the Nik Collection plugin. So first off, let's check the polarization effect, which will just make the colors a little more intense. I think that looks great. Let's see if we want to add another filter. I do think Brilliance and Warmth might look good here. Just adding a little more warmth maybe. Alright, so let's apply it like this. Alright, and here we have the final image. Nicely focused stacked with vibrant colors and a very smooth background. So I hope this video was interesting. If you have any questions left, feel free to ask in the comments. And to finish off this video, here are a few more mushroom images. Thanks for watching.